Bonn, AFP, UN negotiations to activate the Paris Agreement, designed to avert a climate catastrophe, were wrapping up on Friday, November 17, deflated, but not derailed, by Washington's rejection of the process and its defense of fossil fuels. President Donald Trump's decision to withdraw the United States from the hard-fought global pact cast a long shadow over the talks, marked by revived divisions between developing countries and rich ones. With a wary eye on America, which still has negotiators at the forum it has spurned, envoys from nearly 200 countries got on with the business of designing a rule book for enacting key provisions in the agreement, which enters into force in just 3 years' time. The Trump administration failed to stop the global climate talks from moving forward, said Greenpeace observer Jens Matthias Clausen. But it may have slowed things down. I have never seen a COP with so little adrenaline, a senior European negotiator told AFP, using the shorthand for the 23rd Conference of Parties, 23 Colombian pesos, to the UN Climate Convention. The world is still in urgent need of action, Clausen said. Bonn still leaves a daunting task of concluding the Paris Rule Book, which must be adopted next year. The Paris Agreement, adopted to cheers and champagne in 2015, commits countries to limiting average global warming to under 2 deg C over Industrial Revolution levels, and 1.5 deg C if possible, to avert worst-case climate change. Nations submitted voluntary emissions-cutting commitments to bolster the deal championed by Trump's predecessor Barack Obama. But scientists say current pledges place the world on course for warming of 3 deg C or more, and counsel urgency in reducing planet-warming greenhouse gases produced from mankind's voracious burning of coal, oil, and natural gas. The rule book will specify how countries count and report on their promised emissions cuts. A report this week said emissions of carbon dioxide, the main greenhouse gas, are set to rise by 2% in 2017 after 3 years of no growth. Starting now, emissions need to decrease to zero over the next 40 years to prevent us breaching the 1.5 deg C threshold, Piers Forster, a professor of climate change at the University of Leeds, said on Friday. In Bonn, negotiators gathered to work out the modalities for putting the agreement into action. But they disagreed on key issues, not least of which the financing pledged by rich nations to help the developing world make the costly shift away from atmosphere-fouling coal, and to shore up their defenses against increasingly intense superstorms, droughts, floods, and sea level increases attributed to climate change. Yet the headline dispute at 23 Colombian pesos was about coal. On Monday, White House officials and energy company executives hosted an event on the conference margins to mount a defense of continued fossil fuel use. This did not go down well at a forum dedicated to the drawdown of fossil fuel emissions. On Thursday, about 20 governments from both wealthy and developing nations countered with the launch of a coal phase-out initiative, led by Canada and Britain, that also has the backing of several regional governments. When your closest neighbors and allies are the ones leading the global effort to phase out fossil fuel, it just shows how much Trump is out of tune with the rest of the world, said Mohammed Ado, a climate analyst with Christian Aid, which represented the interests of poor countries at the talks.